Okay, so based on your last response, I'm gonna ask this. So, you know, back to reality TV and how we see black women in the media. Do you think that society has made it out to seem that every black woman is the typical angry person, or do you think some of the TV shows plays a responsibility in that, or
Um, Once again, I'm not big on social media, but from the things I do see, um, Love and Hip Hop, yes,
mm-hmm,
they definitely do make black women seem angry,
mm-hmm,
um, or at least quick tempered,
mm-hmm,
very quick tempered about small things. They make them seem like, they're all about drama, and that's it. What was the second part of your question?
so I'm gonna give you an example. Like for instance, I don't know if you're aware of like someone like Nene Leakes from Atlanta Housewives, but she is known for always starting a fight or always getting mad at small things, like you said, from Love and Hip Hop. And she's always known for being somewhat violent. But do you feel like that's the way
How
all
they're
black women are conceived, or do you feel like a lot of people think, well, you know what, these women act angry and crazy on TV, so that's how every black woman in America is.
okay. Okay, I gotta keep that in mind. Okay. So angry, yes. I think another way that they portray people, I don't think that they portray every black woman that way. Um, what is her name? Regina King.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she played in Miss Congeniality 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think in that they showed that black women were a lot tougher.
Right.
They're not easily pushed over.
Mm-hmm.
They're very strong people. And I think it also just depends on what shows you're watching, because
Mm-hmm.
not every show that I have watched, like Taraji P. Henson,
Mm-hmm.
she's played in I can't forget. I can't remember. But she played in some episode and some show, and she was actually an investigator, and
Mm-hmm.
she did her job. She was the boss.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that all social media or media in general portrays all black women to be angry. It mostly, to me, it shows that they're very tough women
Mm-hmm.
and strong-willed, strong-minded, um, and very determined.
Okay. So the next question is, it's kind of like a repetitive question, but um, does mass media's stereotypical portrayals of black women affect the way American audiences perceive black women in real life? So with all that being said, you know what we discussed about the reality TV shows and all this other stuff. Do you feel that has an impact on how everyone in America views a black woman?
Somewhat, yes. And I'll say somewhat because, again, it also depends on how you were raised
Mm-hmm.
and the people you were raised around. Because if you say you are someone that is not of African American descent, okay, if you are raised around people that are African American and an African American woman, they seem to have a better understanding of how black people are because they have that one-on-one experience, unlike the ones that aren't raised around those people, um, or around black people. I'll say that if you are solely going based on
So if they were going solely based on like um, seeing some of these shows where every black woman on there is fighting and cussing folk out.
Oh, well, then yes. I definitely think that people, like I said, people that aren't raised around them will probably see the black woman as, oh, she's ghetto.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she always got an attitude. I don't like them. And I've definitely heard that before.
Mm-hmm.
And when they mimic black people, they always want to put some type of break words up.
They put that certain flair on.
Yeah, they put a flair on there that they've seen maybe once or twice, and they go based on that, you know,
right.
for all black women. So yeah, I definitely do think that, but I think it's based on how you were raised as well.
So with that being said, how do you think the image of black women is changing? You know.
Okay. So as we know, we started off with the slavery, then racism, and now we're still living in a bit of racism to this day. But now that I think we've seen the police shooting a lot of black men, a lot of shootings in school, I think that is black women and black people all together are being seen a little bit differently, because now it's black people that see all the problems and want to change that. So that's what they're trying to put on TV. For example, I think Wakanda.
Yeah.
Not Wakanda.
Black Panther.
Black Panther was a good example, and I'll say that because I'm not really sure of her name, but she was one of his protectors. Cannot think of her name, but she stood her ground.
Right.
She was a very strong-willed woman. I wouldn't say that she was angry. They also showed his sister. She was very smart. She was working with some of the highest forms of technology that even the white men and the Asian men, you know, didn't know about. So I think that the image of a black woman is changing. There's another movie that Taraji P. Henson played in. I cannot remember the name of that movie. What was it?
Proud Mary?
No, it was the one. It was one before that. She helped them go out of space or something like that.
Hidden Figures.
Hidden Figures. Even though that was, you know, actually based on a true story, it was brought back to the attention of others that not all black women are uneducated and not able to do things and not able to
progress in life and stuff like that.
Not even really progress in life, but it just showed that a black woman is able to come up with the things that help us make something new. You know, she was the reason why something happened. That's what I'm saying. So I think that now in media and movies, it is starting to change because people see that we're not always being portrayed as great. So we've come a long ways.
So speaking of movies, I want you to think back to like when we were growing up, and what are some female television or movie characters that you were able to relate to, and what makes you relate to them?
I don't know if I ever thought of somebody that I could relate to. I just don't put myself in that situation. But somebody that my elementary was pretty diverse, but I did have a few white friends. For example, I'll use the TV show Rugrats. Susie Carmichael. Although the other little kids were doing crazy stuff, she wasn't always up for it. She had parents that were, what was it, a doctor
and a television producer.
A television producer. I think that was the first example of black people being great, but I can't say that there's somebody I can relate to.
Even that being said, specifically with that show, Susie was that character. She, even though the babies were scared of Angelica, she wasn't scared.
Yeah, she was
tough. She was tough. So I can see why you would,
remember so
that character.
That goes back to your question before about women being, black women always being portrayed as angry. I think it's really just they have tough skin and they will fight back if they need to. But it's just shown in the wrong way.
I think we've talked about it again, but if you don't mind, could you touch bases? The next question is basically saying, in what ways do you feel media portrays women as strong or independent individuals? I think, we touched bases on that with Taraji P. Henson playing the role in Hidden Figures, But are there any other ways that you think that the media is portraying women as a whole, as strong and independent individuals?
Let me think of that one. I think of some of the shows I've watched.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be like shows. Like, for instance, when they just unveiled the picture of the former First Lady, Michelle Obama, I think that was a real pivotal moment.
Oh yeah.
To show that she is a strong woman. She's
very educated. She even had a little girl looking up to the painting of her in awe, because she knew who she was.
Yeah.
And she was a role model to everyone. So for sure, definitely, Michelle Obama is a role model to everyone and shows that not all black women are quote unquote ratchet or always angry. She's the perfect example of somebody that is educated, who has been in a high position, who has been under a lot of pressure, and has had a lot of negativity thrown her way in all forms. Who else? Alicia Keys. Specifically going to, this is more so related to makeup, but everybody, and a lot of people make black people seem like they're ugly. And I think she's portrayed that black people or black women can be beautiful without makeup.
Right.
She showed that by not wearing makeup anymore.
I remember that campaign she did.
So those are two people definitely that I look up to.
Okay. I don't know if you know what mass communications really is, but part of it is dealing with like news reporters and broadcast media and stuff like that. So I know typically as college students we don't really watch the news like that anymore, but like growing up, how was seeing women reporters or journalists out there on TV changed your view on broadcasting and stuff like that?
How has what?
Like seeing, for instance, when we were growing up, our parents would watch the news, and like sometimes we would see, it may be slim, but we would see a few women reporting on the news
that were black, or just women.
Just women in general. So, do you think seeing that like empowers other young girls like who may be interested in that field, like?
Oh, definitely. What's her name? Demetria. She is another example of someone that is black. I think she's a very curvaceous woman. And she was belittled, and she was put down about how she was dressing. But I think definitely seeing a lot more women and black women on the news, being meteorologists and just telling us the news, I think that has definitely inspired a lot of young ladies, including a few that I know, to go after your goals. And I think not even just speaking on the news, for example. I keep saying Taraji, but she's a very good example.
I mean, she's diverse. She does a lot of stuff.
She does do a lot of stuff, and she spoke in one of her interviews, I think, and she said she didn't get to where she was until she was like 30 something years old. It took her a while. So because the women that we have seen, that we are seeing today, have put out there that it has taken them, so long, or so many years to get to where they are. I think they have definitely encouraged a lot of young girls and women to this day to pursue their dream, no matter what gender or race they are.
So with that being said, with us going to the same church, I was going through one of the news companies down here, Spectrum News, and one of the girls from our church, she's actually working for the news company. So do you feel that media companies could use more women in the workforce? And like you were saying, how Taraji said that she didn't really reach her success until she was like 30. So do you feel that media companies could use more women in the workforce like that, to try to encourage more?
Of course, I do think that it could use a lot more women, but not just when it comes to the news. I think that's within a lot of fields. But I still think that no matter what, it should still be a diverse group of people or gender of people working together. But definitely it should be equal. It shouldn't be, oh, I'm going to hire you because you're a male instead of the woman that has just the same credentials or the experience. I still think it should be equal and not based on gender.
Okay, so our next question, it's kind of a creative question, so it's going to require that you kind of like think back. But I know, for instance, a lot of people say, John, you talk like Medea from Tyler Perry's movies. Like, you're real sassy like Medea. Have you ever been told by someone that, you act like someone who's popular in the media or on a TV show or in a movie?
I haven't been told that I act like someone, but I've definitely been told that I look like some people.
Okay. So with that being said, what kind of features, I guess, are they seeing? Like your figure, or do you resemble like their facial features, or?
Well, starting from elementary, I used to hear a lot that I looked like Alicia Keys. I heard that a lot. Not Alicia Keys. I apologize. Not Alicia Keys. Halle Berry. I heard that a lot.
Really?
Yes. That, I was like, well, I don't really see it. But another person that I've heard maybe twice is Rashida.
The rapper, right?
No. Rashida from that goes with Kurt. On Love Is it Love and Hip Hop? I don't know.
She's a rapper.
She is?
Yeah.
Well, the one that got her little store in Atlanta.
Yeah, she's a rapper.
Yeah. Oh, I sure didn't know she was a rapper. But, so I've been told that I look like those two people mostly, and I think a lot of it came from complexion, head shape from Rashida, maybe the eyes. Not quite sure what everybody sees, but I honestly think the first thing is the complexion. I think that was the biggest thing. And then they just kind of went based on, oh, you kind of, yeah. But those are the two people.
Well, that's a big, trait that you said complexion, because
It's the first people to think.
that
Okay.
people are always comparing light skin versus dark skin. So do you think that now that they are putting black women out there, do you think they're putting more light skinned women out there,
Okay, I can definitely talk about this. I think they put more light skinned women in videos.
Mm-hmm.
I think they put more light skinned women or fair skinned women with, if there's a biracial couple, they tend to put a lighter female with them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not too often that I see a darker skinned woman with a white male.
Mm-hmm.
But now that, based on like Instagram, you hear a lot of black girl magic,
Mm-hmm.
and that's great.
Yeah, that is great.
It's great. But I know that now everybody's starting to see that a lot of people are, okay with accepting black people, but they have to be light skinned because
Mm-hmm.
they're closer to white. But now that people are seeing that,
Mm-hmm.
they've kind of drawn to accepting the beautiful skin that they have,
Mm-hmm.
and saying, you know what, I might not be light skinned, but I'm still beautiful
Mm-hmm.
in the brown skin that I am now. So I'm starting to see a lot more of black women or darker skinned black women, out there more, but it hasn't been accepted by TV.
So with that being said, I'm gonna move to the next question. When you were growing up, like what did you see? Like what images of black women did you see? Like was it more? And this is going back to like some of the small things, even to like the little perm boxes where the little black girls and stuff was on, or like the little magazines we used to see with the hairstyles and stuff, or like what stood out to you? Like what?
One, the color is never right when it
Mm.
comes to Barbie dolls.
Mm.
The color is always like a dusty brown.
Mm.
I noticed that if there is a black girl,
Mm.
she will most likely have more coarse hair.
Right.
They like to, instead of, making them look their best, which nothing is wrong with wearing your natural hair. I'm natural myself, but instead of making this woman, putting it into a little style and giving her some like cute twist in the front or something,
Mm.
they just make them seem, they try their best to set apart white people and black people. And I've definitely seen that since I was little. Like Susie Carmichael, for example. Angelica's hair was blonde and straight? Had little ponytails.
Right.
Angelica, I couldn't really tell what she had. She had ponytails, but it looked like somebody had not combed her hair out like how we would do now.
Frigid braids.
It didn't look good. Mm-hmm. So.
And then too, I don't know if you remember, but Angelica, whereas she had the straight hair, the blonde hair, had the nice cute little dress, Susie had on like it looked like a muumuu.
Yeah.
And then she always had on those little red bedroom slippers. So it kind of made folks seem like, well.
It makes black people seem like they don't have much.
Right.
Like the only people that can have stuff is white people.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes from TV, jobs, social media, dress, and that also includes when you go in stores.
That's true. And honestly, you answered the next question, which was how has media affected the way society views black women. It goes back to what we were just talking about. White people or white women, kind of have it all. What we see in the media.
For example, when I was younger, like I was too young to be even thinking about stealing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I went in Saks Fifth Avenue with one of my friends, and little dude, well, I'll get to that. I went in there with one of my friends from middle school, and I paid attention to it. Maybe they do it with other people, but I noticed that one of the employees was kind of following us around the store. No, it wasn't our intention to take anything or even buy anything from the store. We were literally walking through. But, little do they know, the people I was with, they had money. They had a lot of money. But because of the news and always having black people, always hearing that black people are in trouble, stealing, and always in trouble, doing something bad, they're kind of, whether they want to admit it or not, they seem to look, if there's a white woman going through the store, if there's a black woman going through the store, they're going to look more at that black woman than that white woman. And that's what I've seen.
The next question, we've talked about the stereotype, the main stereotype, how media portrays black women to be angry. But I want you to, how do you personally feel the media shows disrespect or portrays black women?
Again, I'm not much of a media person. I do very little when it comes to media. But from what I have seen, social media and TV and other types of media make black people seem, or black people in general seem ugly. They make women look less than. They make them, and that's from the negative side, from what that I've seen. They try to make them, in some cases, not look their best. And for example, they like to show them, say if a man has cheated on them, they like to show the black woman fighting back at that man. For example, Tyler Perry. Angela. Although a lot of women would be upset, she handled it differently than, let's say, a white movie director would do. He would probably make her seem a lot different. She wouldn't be lashing out on a train in front of a lot of people. Cussing and carrying on in the middle, in public, or going to her husband's job and embarrassing him and herself. So I think it makes black women look like they're savages.
Which is sad.
And it is, because I'm pretty sure that woman's not like that. But because she was angered, that's what they wanted to show. But on the positive side, they show black women, as I've mentioned before, being tough, independent. Yes, they're single moms, but they're really holding it down for their family. Making sure that pushing their child to go to school. I think that they've also shown in the positive light that black women are great multitaskers, capable of being great leaders and producing great things like Taraji P. Henson has done, like Beyonce, like Alicia Keys, what's her name, Eva. There's so many people, and Michelle Obama specifically. But yeah, so that's positive and negative for both of them.
Okay. So the last two questions are kind of like positive, good ways to end the interview. So it kind of goes back to how we were talking about the whole black Girls Rock campaign, but how do you feel that black women in the media today set an example for younger girls?
Tiffany Haddish. She is hilarious. She is hilarious. And I use her specifically because I follow her on Instagram, but I followed her specifically because of a specific video.
Mm-hmm.
She made a video explaining that she published her book
Mm-hmm.
because she had a mark on her forehead, and she got picked on
Mm-hmm.
by all these kids when she was younger, and she called herself the Black Unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it is. And she talks about how, she ended up taking all the negativity that she received when she was younger and turning that into positive. So instead of letting somebody get her down because of the mark on her forehead, she chose to pick it herself, and it actually became funny to people. And look at her now. She's now a comedian, and she's making money. She is out there. She's not giving... Yes, she gave a negative look in Girls Trip when she lashed out on that man in public and got them kicked out of the hotel. But she also shows in her actual life, her real life, that she is very determined to be happy.
And I think with that being said, even though she was playing that character, I mean, look at who she was in the movie with. She was in the movie with some of the top dogs.
Yeah, she was.
Industry. Queen Latifah, Jada Pinkett Smith. Can't remember the other girl's name.
I can't remember either.
But I mean, these are women who have been in the industry since the 90s.
And I just thought about something. Speaking of happy, another thing that social media and media in the society just makes black women seem unhappy. Very unhappy and bitter.
I think bitter is like the key word.
Yeah, bitter. I wouldn't say that they're ratchet. I think they make when black women seem bitter from all the hurt that they have been through, and they like to highlight those situations.
Okay, so the last question is, how do you think black women stand out in the media as opposed to women of other races? So, we see all these makeup campaigns with all the white women on them, and then, certain campaigns may showcase a woman who's Latina or Asian, but how do black women, how do you feel they stand out, like, as a whole?
Because of all the negativity that we have seen, and the older I get, the things I realize and how things have changed and what we've gone through as black people in general, and the fact that I am black makes black people stand out even more. So when I say there's 4 people and one of them is a black woman or a black male, they always stick out more, and I always look up to them more because they know the struggle. They know the struggle of getting to higher places as a black person. They always stand out to me because of the ones that I see in particular. The ones that I see in particular are more encouraging, and they seem to be the most encouraging or the calmer ones out of the group. And I'll give you the example again. On American Idol, the new judges for this season include Alicia Keys and Kelly Clark.
Oh, you talking about The Voice?
Is it The Voice?
Yeah.
Whatever her name is.
Kelly Clarkson.
Kelly, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
The white girl.
Yeah.
Alicia Keys stood out to me in the biggest way when she spoke to all the contestants that went up, and they had to choose whose team out of the 4 judges that they wanted to go to be a part of on their team. She always spoke calmly. She never put herself out as doing too much. You know, she was very calm, but people knew her because of the things that she had already produced. And the things that she's done in her community, the things that, you know, she writes on Instagram, how she acts, and how you don't really see much of her on TV. Whereas, yes, Kelly Clarkson did the most. So she stood out because she didn't need to do the most.
Well, all right, that concludes the interview questions. And I thank you kindly.